Hey everyone, it's Hailey, and we are back with our latest episode of Cooking with a Cattlewoman. So what I'm going to show you today is how we like to prepare flank steak here at home. Tonight is just the prepping side of it because we're going to let this marinate for at least 18 hours. So I'm going to show you the whole process behind it. I'll show you the ingredients. Then we're going to put it in the fridge to sit for about 18 hours, and then we're actually going to cook the steak tomorrow. So I'm going to rearrange so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so we've got our little area set up right here. So the couple things that you are going to need is some Russian dressing. You'll need a sharp knife. Be very careful. You need a flank steak, and you also need a good cutting board. I like to have mine color coded, so red means beef. Then you also need something to put this flank steak in to be marinating. So I'm just going to use this glass container that has a lid just because it's going to fit in here quite nicely. So what you do is the first part is you're going to cut strips into this flank steak. You're going to score it. You're going to cut about halfway through the steak just because you want to be able to have all of this marinade that you're going to put on it be able to absorb down into the steak. So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to cut these strips all the way down. And you're not going to cut all the way through. You just kind of want to score it a little bit to help tenderize because the flank area is not a very tender cut. And since we're wanting to grill this and not slow cook it, it's best if you go ahead and score it and marinate it for an extended period of time. A lot of people like to use flank steak and make it into like street tacos, and so you can do that in the crock pot. It takes, on high about 4 hours, on low about 8 hours, and you can do that as well. A lot of people do that with skirt steak. So skirt steak and flank steak are very similar. They're from the same area on the animal, but it's based, the difference, mainly how you can tell, is one, the size of it, and two, the way that the muscle striations go through. And so I'll actually show you that in a second. So you're gonna score it all the way down. And so you see, we've scored this steak all the way down. We've scored it all the way down, so you can kind of see that we've made those little areas in there, but then you can't see it through the other side. So the way you can tell the difference in a flank steak versus a skirt steak is the way that those muscle striations go through that cut of meat. So you see this cut of meat, the muscle is going widthwise, right? Well, if we were to flip it this way, if it was going to start going through it that way, then that would make it so that this would be a skirt steak. Skirt steaks are typically about half the size of a flank steak as well. So you want to make sure that you put a thin layer of the marinade on the bottom of this glass container. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Just because you want it to not only be covered with the Russian dressing, but you want the bottom side to have it too. So you'll do that, you'll kind of spread it around in there. You can pick up this container and kind of move it around so the whole bottom is covered. Okay, just like that. And then you will set the flank steak in there. And this is going to marinate for about, like I said, for us it's going to be about 18 hours. You just want to make sure to do it overnight. And then we'll put the rest of this Russian dressing on the top. About halfway through, so in about 9 hours, I'm going to go ahead and flip it. And then we'll add a little bit. I've got actually 2 containers of this Russian dressing, so we'll add a little bit to that as well. Okay, so you can see that our flank steak is completely covered. I'm going to get a little bit more and we're going to kind of move it around a little bit. But this is going to sit for, like I said, 18 hours. But halfway through, we're going to flip it. So all we needed for this was, I used the wishbone Russian dressing, but any Russian dressing, or Catalina, very similar to it, and you're just going to completely coat it on top and on the bottom. We scored through it to make sure that all of those, the marinade is going to get all the way through the meat, and it's going to tenderize it as much as possible because we are going to be putting this on the grill. So once this sits overnight, we'll show you a picture of what it looks like, and then we're going to throw it on the grill and we're going to have it tomorrow for dinner. So we hope you enjoy. Okay, so we're back. It's been about 18 hours that we have had this marinating. 9 hours in, we went ahead and flipped it inside our container. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna go get the grill ready. We're gonna have this sit until the grill is ready. We'll put it on about medium heat on your grill. You don't want it too hot, you don't want it too cold. And then we're gonna grill it for probably about 10 to 15 minutes. Making sure that about halfway through, you're gonna use some of your extra Russian dressing and you're gonna base that on top of it to have all of that flavor. Then once it's done, we'll slice it and we'll show you that process and we'll show you what it ends up looking like. And just like that, it's all done. We sliced everything. I went ahead and drizzled more of the Russian dressing on top, and we decided as sides to do roasted potatoes and sauteed peppers and onions.